everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. It has been a very long time since my last update video. I think the last video I filmed was in January and that was a whip parade, and it's currently March 4th right now, so it's been a while, but I haven't really been stitching. I took a break. I was reading books, I was reading some ebooks, I was reading some physical books, and I also was doing some knitting, but I will show all of that stuff at the end. So if you just want cross stitch, I will keep that at the beginning and then I'll put everything else at the end. So I haven't really stitched that much, so I don't really have anything to really show. I'm just gonna start fresh. So this is going to be where I'm starting, and then I'll show you little clips of what I get done throughout the next week or so. So the first project I will show, which I am behind on technically, is my Haid 2025 stitch along. I am doing the chart Drinks on the Beach, which is artwork by Lars Stewart, and here is where I am on it. My goal for this piece was to try and do a page a month and then have 6 pages finished, because once you do 6 pages, you will get the other stitch along charts for free. If you finish the entire piece, you will be able to pick a free chart off their website, but I am not trying to do the entire piece because the entire piece is like 90,000 stitches or something, and I'm not trying to do that this year. So I'm behind though. So I did my page in January. I did not work on it at all in February, and so now I need to try and finish the page for February and then a page for March. And I think I'm also going to do, there's a partial page over here, and it doesn't count towards the page finishes, but I think I'm going to try to do the partial page at the same time, just because it's easier to just keep the threads going instead of cutting them off at the end. So I'm going to be working on this first, and this is on 32 count 1/1 half cross using CXC floss. And then I will also be working on Autumn Harmony, which is artwork by Maxine Gadd. And this is a piece I would like to have finished sometime this year, but I am so far behind because I didn't really stitch in February and January, so I'm behind. But this is where I'm working at on this piece. I am working in this top corner, trying to get it filled in. And if you are new, I will show what I have done so far on this piece. I think I'm at like 60-something%, and like I said, I would like her finished this year. She is on 18 count 2/1 full cross, and I need to try and get back to doing daily stitching on her. And I'll show purchases just real quick because I did it today. Today I went to Joann's because Joann is closing down, it's been everywhere. It's like all over social media. Everyone is like, my last trip to Joann. So I went in there just to see what they would have, and it was only 25% off, but stuff was going fast. Like the yarn was pretty much empty and the floss was pretty much empty, and I got a couple colors just because I needed them for Autumn Harmony. But I didn't really buy anything that I didn't need right now because, like I said, it was only 25% off. And if you wait, Michael's will usually have like 30% or 40% off your entire purchase coupons. So that ends up being a better deal than the Joann floss anyways. But I did get a piece of fabric that they had there. They had this. It's a 14 count DMC Charles craft. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a sparkly blue. And I thought that would be pretty to eventually do something like a winter piece or something on it, because it's got like the sparkly and then it's like a pale blue, so it would be like a nice fabric for a winter piece possibly. And then I also got yarn. I didn't even need to get this yarn because it's just Red Heart yarn, so I could buy it at Michael's or online or something, and I just got it because I saw it and I was like, that is really pretty. And I've seen people on YouTube use this yarn before, so I was just like, I want to get it because I haven't really bought that much yarn in person or anything. And it is the Red Heart Flower Power all-in-one yarn. So Red Heart has this yarn, and it's granny square yarn, and it's got the color changes built into it. So you stitch your granny square, and then it changes colors on each round. This one here has a pattern for a flower square, and then it's supposed to change colors and make a color flower changing square on its own, so you don't have to weave in ends or anything like that because the colors are supposed to change automatically for you. So I ended up getting 3 colors. I got this one here, which I thought was very pretty, and then I got this one. I loved the red, and then the last one I got because I thought it was more like a neutral. If I was to put these together and make like a bag or whatever, I thought these colors would go well together. So I'm excited to try this yarn and just see how it goes, because I have watched videos of people reviewing this yarn And they sometimes have trouble getting the color to change at the right spot, because like if you look at it, like the yellow is supposed to be the center and then it goes to white, and they'll have trouble where like the yellow will keep going into the flower, so they have to like rip it out and then redo the starting, or they'll get to the like end of the flower but still have a bunch of white left, or they run out of white while they're still making the flower. So I am interested in seeing how this actually works up and how easy it ends up being. So that is what I got. I am going to go get to stitching on Drinks on the Beach, and I will be back once I have an update. It is now Saturday, and I have been working on Drinks on the Beach since like Tuesday-ish. I haven't been stitching as much still as I was last year, and so I can't remember how many stitches I've done. It's over 1,000. It might be like 1,500 or something. I don't know. But I have been working across the entire top row of the chart now because I moved the Q-snap, and the shades of blue in the top go just like, the sky is basically like mostly a couple colors. So there's, I think it's 3, 8, 4, 5 or something like that, a really bright blue, and then there's like one shade darker, and then they are just all across this top row. So I've been working across the top row, and I'm just going to keep going back and forth filling in blue until the blues are finished. I think in this area here it gets more exciting. Like there's some green of a leaf in the sky there. There is going to be more like drinks and stuff here, which will be fun to get some colors because it's just a lot of blue right now. But I'm going to take today and do something different just to give myself a little break from Drinks on the Beach, and I'm going to work on a Whipgo piece. So Whipgo is by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. If you go on her channel, she has a video that explains the whole process of Whipgo and all of that. And this year I gave myself 2 Whipgo boards, which I will say, it's just if I'm bored, I'll do Whipgo because I'm really behind on Whipgo, as you will see. So I have a board that's themed where it's like work on a seasonal piece, work on a Gecko Rouge, or work on a Heaven and Earth design or something like that. And that way I still get the freedom of picking the chart that I work on, but it's just kind of giving me like a little like hint of like a do something in this category. And so I have that Whipgo board, which so far I have done the January Whipgo numbers, and then I also did one for March because one of the March ones, the theme that was picked was Stitch Along, which the Heaven and Earth chart is a stitch along, so that counted. And so I still need to do number 7, which was from February, which is a long dog. Number 8, which is a charting creations piece, which was from February, and then the other March one is work on an artisy chart. So I haven't done any of those 3, but I think today I want to do my other board. So my other board is a mixture of 5 different charts. They are my favorite charts, which are Cozy Winter Book Nook, which is from Pain Free Crafts, and Rose Library, which is from Unconventional X Stitch. And then the other 3 charts are ones that I would like to eventually get finished. So there is Fables, Witcher, and Templar Prophecy. So the ones that I still have to do, because I haven't done any of them, so there's technically 6 on here that I could pick from to do right now, and I decided that I want to do number 7, which is a February Whipgo number, and it was Cozy Winter Book Nook, which I have pulled out over here. This is artwork by Rose Kahn, charted by Pain Free Crafts, and I love this chart so much. It's a nice like wintry chart with tons of stuff everywhere. And this is where I am on it now. Last year I worked my way over to this flowery area with a clock, and I think I'm going to keep working over here just because I want to fill in more of like the clock. This is on 25 count, 2 over 1 half cross, and I'll just be working on this today, possibly tomorrow, which is Sunday, and I'm happy about that. I also, because I'm trying to get back into like balancing hobbies, I made a little list of things that I can do for today, like to get done. And I was doing that in December, and it worked really well during Flossmas of like, do this, do this, do this, and I was getting things done. So the first thing that I would like to do is make a flower square, because I bought the granny square yarn, which I showed earlier, I think, in the video, and I started making a square, and I got confused, and I watched a video of someone else making one of these flower squares, and so I started it. It looks flowery, but the part where I got confused is you join the round with a single crochet, and then in the next row is said to do a slip stitch. So you join the round with a slip stitch, and so I did that, and then I got confused because then you start the next round, and I was like, do a slip stitch here, and I was like, but we just did that, and so I was just confused. I watched a video, so I think I can figure it out now. So I want to make one flower square today. I need to do 200 stitches on Autumn Harmony, which I think I've already done 60 this morning, and then work on Cozy Winter Book Nook. I don't have a set amount of stitches I want to get done on it. I just want to work on it. And also to read, because I'm currently reading 2 books. I had a poll on Instagram where I was like, which book of these 2 should I start first? I started both of them, and I think I'm like 50-ish pages, no, I think I'm like 100 pages into this one, maybe like 50 into this. This is The Teller of Small Fortunes, and this other one is Stone Blind, and it's like about like Medusa and like the gods and all that. So 2 books that I'm reading. I want to read one of them tonight a little bit, and yeah, I'll be back once I have done some stitching, most likely, hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow, and then tomorrow I will probably make another little checklist and see what I can get done. I just remembered there was something else I was going to talk about, and I had talked about it in my whip parade. There were 2 charts that I ended up quitting, and I hadn't talked about which ones they were yet, so I have them out here so I can show you which charts I ended up quitting and the why. So number 1 is Game of Thrones, which is retired from Tilton Crafts, and here it is right now. And it's one, I like it. I just don't know if when it was finished, if I'd actually hang it up. I also don't love how like orangey the faces are. Like, it's a lot warmer than I think I would want it to be, and so I decided I was just gonna quit this one. Like, I have other things that I like more, and I realize I don't have enough time to stitch everything that I would like to stitch, so I really just need to pick my favorite things, focus on those, you know, Cozy Winter Book Nook, Rose Library. Like, I have my favorite charts, and so I don't have time to have everything, you know? And then the other one is one that I'm quitting mostly because it's not that far. It's a restart and it's not very far. So it's Rainbow Basin, also by Tilton Crafts. I restarted this one on a 28 count. All I have done so far is this little corner, so it would not be hard for me to just like rip those stitches out and eventually do something else. Or I could work on this later if I really want to, but I just don't want it to be an active whip right now because it has almost nothing done on it. And if I'm going to stitch, I would rather put those stitches into something else that is farther along and that I really want to get done. So I am quitting those 2, and I think I mentioned during my whip parade that I think I'm at 31 whips right now, and I will probably be more like hard on my whips in terms of like if I stitch on something and I'm not loving it, I am more likely to probably just pull it because there are things that I would really like to see stitched. And I'm realizing that there are some things where I like them, but I don't love them enough to want to necessarily have them be something that you work on for that many years, because a lot of my charts are really big charts. So those are the charts that I had quit. And yeah, I'm just working, like I've mentioned before, on whipping down. So far, I have not started anything since the Haid Stitch Along, which I was able to start because I had 2 finishes, and so I earn a start after I have 2 finishes. And I have not purchased any charts so far this year, which yay, so I am happy about that. And now I'm going to get to stitching, and I will be back once I have some progress on this ginormous chart. I am back, and it is now Monday, and I am happy to report that I finished my entire checklist that I made on Saturday. And so I will start off with the cross stitch because there was some stuff on there that was not cross stitch, so we'll start with cross stitch. What did I get done? I did work on Autumn Harmony. I did 200 stitches on her that day, which was Saturday, and I worked on her a couple other days in the last week, so I maybe did 800 stitches. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track of things very well recently, but here is where Autumn Harmony is now. I am still just filling in this top corner, which is taking me forever. I think next week, or this coming up week, I might move the hoop somewhere else just because I am getting tired of these colors. These are not my favorite colors to stitch. I might go work like in her hair or something where I can get some like bright like reds or something and do something fun. So that was Autumn Harmony. Did not get a ton done. I think I have reached like a wall like burnout where like it's not as exciting to stitch on it right now, and I'm trying to like push through. And then I also worked on Cozy Winter Book Nook, and I think I did 800 stitches on that. and I was working on filling in the clock, and I am happy with that progress because I did a few of like the main colors, so a lot of what's left is kind of like some confetti stitches that will add in the details, but I am happy to see the clock filling in, and I think the next time that I do work on this, I will most likely stick to this area and try and actually get the clock finished just so I can like see how like the detailed areas are going to look. And so there was Cozy Winter Book Nook. So now we will be on to the non-cross stitch things. I have stuff piled everywhere. So I wanted to make a flower square using the red heart yarn that I had bought at Joann, and I made 3 squares. I ended up making one of each color because I got 3 of the colors when I was at Joann. So here is one of the colors, yay. And I managed to figure out the pattern. After you figure it out, it wasn't that bad. The only part that was hard, and the square that I had the most trouble with, so much trouble. So I was watching Severance. I'm still rewatching Severance. It's taken me a really long time to watch season 1, but I finished season 1. Anyways, I was working on one of these squares during Severance. It took 2 episodes for me to get this one square done. Not because the pattern is hard, but the color lining up. So the circle was fine, the inner part of the flower, that was fine. Every time I was working on the actual flower, I kept having like this much of the light color left before it gets to the red. And so I kept having to rip it out and then do it looser, and then I kept having to like, and then I eventually had to rip out the entire flower, start it over again, and basically just loosen my tension. I probably could have just went up a hook size if I have a bigger hook, but I don't have a ton of crochet hooks because it's not my main hobby, and the hooks that I have are like super old. Like this one, I'm still using a basic crochet hook. I don't have like the comfort grip ones or whatever they are, and this one for some reason has like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, it has like marks on it. I don't know what those marks are from, like scissors or something, I don't even know, but it has marks all over that hook. I probably could have changed the hook size. I don't think I have a different hook size. So yeah, this one took forever, but it was all just because the color was not ending at the right point. And so I finally got it figured out. Took 2 episodes of Severance, which had me very mad. This one I was able to finish in 1 episode of Severance. So this one, the color worked out a lot better. I actually was having the issue of I loosened my tension too much on this one, and so the color changes were happening too early, so I was having to go back and like tighten things up, and yeah. But I managed to get it all done. I have a square of each of the colors that I bought done, so I'm happy. And I found a pattern that I would like to use the squares for, but I'm gonna have to buy a different color because the pattern I found, I want the exact colors that they used, which they used this color and then they used a different gray that has a black in it, and it's a pattern I found on the Yarnspirations website. It is free, and it is called the Power Wrap Cardigan. So you just make these squares and then you make like this cute little cardigan, and then you do like a little I don't know crochet terms real well. You crochet like a little band along the edges, and then you also crochet a tie, and so you can tie it at the bottom, and then it like is a wrap cardigan. It's super cute. I loved it, and I thought it would be a great way to use up some of these squares. So I am going to keep making the gray squares. I think this color was called like Daisy something, I can't remember the name. And so I'm going to keep using the gray, make these ones, and then I'm going to need to order the other color so I can make that power wrap cardigan because it was super cute. And so I did that. I also read my book. I read The Teller of Small Fortunes because I am trying to finish this one first, I think, before the other book that I'm reading. And so I read some of this. So far it's cute. She is a fortune teller. She tells people small fortunes, not big ones, just like little things that might happen to you. And she is traveling. At the beginning of the book, she's traveling alone, and you're kind of like getting little pieces of backstory of like why is she traveling around by herself, and she starts meeting other people and, you know, getting involved in like their things that are going on in their lives. So it's really cute so far. That was all that I wanted to get done over the weekend, and I think I'm going to end the video here, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about other books that I read and my other knitting that I had started in my like month and a half break from Flosstube. So first I will talk about the knitting just because that's more crafty related than books. So I started another Musselburgh hat. I finished the one that I was making in December. I posted that on my Instagram, which my Instagram is the same as my YouTube. It's Crafty Gaming Jamie. And so I finished that Musselburgh hat, and I finished it right in time for a snowstorm. We got snow. It stuck around for like a week. It snowed like one day, and then it stuck around forever because we got freezing temperatures and it didn't go away. And so I think my kids had 2 snow days, and then they had a couple late start days because I think our district just didn't want to have more snow days because every other school was having more snow days, but we went to 2-hour late start. It was fine. Kind of. I don't like driving in snow. Anyway, so I started another Musselburgh hat because I wanted to start using up some of my scrap yarns. And so what I did, I'm going to have to get more of the scrap yarns because I'm not going to have enough to finish it right now, I think. I saw on YouTube that you can tie the yarns together using like a magic knot, and you can make like a ball of your scrap yarns. So that's what I did. I started just tying scrap yarns together, and I used a scale because I wanted the color changes to happen quite often, and I was only doing like 4 to like 6 grams, I think, of a color before I would cut it off and then add another color. And then I was trying to do them different amounts so that the stripes are different sizes. I didn't want them to all be like the same width. And then also I ended up holding the yarn together because I wanted the color changes to kind of blend. So I'm holding 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together, and it's making these fun stripes, and I love the way that this is turning out. It's going to be a super fun hat. I was kind of thinking that when I do the like I said, I'm gonna have to add more yarn, I think, because this is only like a little more than half of the hat, because the hat is basically, I think I have a Musselburgh over here. So first of all, the Musselburgh hat is by Isolde Teague. This is my 3rd one that I've made. I hate the starting of the hat. Every time I make it, I say I'm never going to make another one, and then I do. Anyway, so the Musselburgh hat, you make it, and it's a really long, just like tube, and then it's folded in half when it goes onto your head. And then I'll ruin my hair, and then you go like this, and then you can fold it up and you have your brim. So you have to make it like really long. So this is probably only a little more than half of the hat. And so I was thinking that when I do add more yarn, if I want to do like what colors, like have it try and be like more pink, because this one does have a lot of purple, and just try and plan out the yarn that way. I also separated my scraps into 2 different like color groupings, so I think I might make another Musselburgh hat that's scrap yarn, because this one was more of like pinks, purples, blues, and then I made another pile of scrap yarn that was more of like browns, greens, and like yellows and stuff. So I kind of wanted to have 2 different like colored hats, you know. And I was also trying to get separate yarns that might not go together very well, because I had some like reds and things like that that I didn't really want to have in with like all of these like kind of more like pastel-y colors. So that's what I did for that, my Musselburgh hat. I also started a vest, which I have mentioned the vest before, the Athelian vest by Fable Knitwear. I am dropping things everywhere. And I started it probably like a month or so ago. It was in February. It was before Valentine's Day. And I am using yarn from Geektastic Fibers, who is now, I think, called Fandoms and Fibers. It is tangled because there's mohair held together with fingering. I'll figure that out later. Anyways, so you start it, it's knit from the bottom up. So I started at the bottom, and I am currently just knitting the body of it right now, which I still have quite a bit more to do. And I am loving the way that this is turning out. I love purples, so I'm loving this color. And it's also just like super soft because it has the mohair in it, and so I'm loving it. It looks incredibly small. I started making this and I had finished the ribbing, and I was like, this is not going to fit me. Like, how is this going to work? It's fine. I tried it on to make sure before I kept knitting on it, and I was like, okay, it does fit. It's going to be fine. But at first I was like, this looks like it's made for a child, but it's fine. The only thing I'm worried about with this vest is I have seen people on Ravelry say that the arm's eye or whatever is not that big, so I might need to try and like modify that, because I don't want it like digging up into my armpits. So that is something that I am considering that I might have to do something about, but here it is. I like it. It's great. I think part of the reason why I stopped knitting on it is because I'm at a point where I'm having to do increases, and I don't love the way the pattern is written out for this. That was one of the things. It's very just kind of like lackadaisy. The pattern's just not as detailed as other patterns I've used. And so like you're doing increases and it doesn't tell you which increase they want you to do. It's just like increase 1. And then there's not anywhere else in the pattern that I saw where it says which increase they want you to do. So I didn't love that. And the increases was also just kind of like increase every 2 centimeters 5 times, which I'm used to patterns that like hold your hand and are like every 5 rows do an increase, like, or something like that. But this is just like a every 2 centimeters. So then I'm having to like carry around like a tape measure to be like, okay, 2 centimeters. I don't know. First of all, centimeters in the US. I'm like inches? Inch? Okay. Anyways, that's just like a US problem, first world problems. So that was all my knitting. Books. I did spend a lot of time reading. I'm only going to talk about like notable books that are like the bigger ones. So I did read book 3 of the Empyrean series, I think is what it's called, which is the 4th Wing Iron Flame Onyx Storm. And I got Onyx Storm, and then I was like, I'm going to reread the other books in the series first. So I started reading 4th Wing and Iron Flame again, which took a while to get through. And I really love 4th Wing. Amazing. Love it. Iron Flame, also good. Onyx Storm, there was parts that I felt like kind of dragged on, but the ending was really good, and the ending just leaves you like, you need the next book. I need to know what's going to happen. But yeah, there was parts of it that were kind of like, seemed like they dragged. There's also parts of it that make you mad just because of like the character's lack of communication. If you would communicate, we wouldn't have these problems. So I read that, and then I also read The Housemaid by, I think, Frida McFadden. That was an amazing book. I read that book in one evening. I started it, and I stayed up until like 2 because I could not put it down. There's a part in the book where it goes like part 2, and you don't put it down after part 2. If you read that book, clear your schedule, because once you get to part 2, you just got to keep going until the end. So that was a really good book, and I am eventually going to be reading the 2nd book in that series, but I need to read some of like my library books first. The Housemaid is on Kindle Unlimited if you do have Kindle Unlimited, which I do right now. I have like the 3-month like trial or something like that. So that is, I think, all that I have for crafty and everything else. I am going to end this video now because I think it got kind of long after I talked about knitting and books, and I will be back hopefully on Friday with another video because I would like to get back to my Friday schedule. So I hope to see you all then. Thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I hope you have all been well in this like long break that I ended up taking. Bye!